What's up, party people? Xvive Productions in the place to be, Superman First Class in the mix. And today I'm going to be doing some testing on the U35 microphone wireless system by Xvive. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm Gerald, excited to share with you all again. And as usual, I like to give you guys a more real and in-the-field practical use on the equipment that I use. And I like to share it from a, out in the wild experience versus sitting at my desk talking about it. There are occasions where I may have to do that. Maybe I'm talking about an unboxing or tech spec or something like that. But in this video, what I'm going to do is give you guys a real-time distance test of the U35. But we're going to do 100 feet in open air. We're going to also do through one wall and then through two walls of center block, which are spaced out. If you guys don't mind, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we're going to just get to work. Let's do it. So here are the conditions for today. I got an Everse 8 speaker on a stand here, and I bought this out because it's battery powered and Bluetooth. And also I have 2 channels of combo jack, so I'm just gonna jam the receiver in one of those. And I have a SM58S microphone, right? You guys know these things are bulletproof. So I'm gonna put the transmitter in here and the receiver's going into the back of the speaker. But the other condition is I did take a 50-foot extension cord and I stretched it out from the middle of the pole to a point in the grass right here. I had a little cup out here earlier I had as a marker, and I just put it down right here marking the first 50 feet, and then I dragged the rest of the cable out there. So at the end of that cable is 100 feet, and the speaker, just to give you a perspective of what I'm looking at from here, is going to be right there. So boom, that's about how far it is visually. And what I'm planning to do as far as the distance test from here with a microphone to the speaker, the transmitter is going to actually be on the back side of the speaker because that's more realistic than turning the speaker around just to accomplish direct line of sight between the transmitter and the receiver. And also I'm going to test through one wall, so I'm going to have to go that way for about 100 feet. And then I'm going to move the speaker on that side of the wall, and we're gonna go that way, that same area, and see how long the microphone will allow us to transmit through 2 center blocks of wall. So just wanted to give you guys a perspective on that. So there it is, let's do it. So we got the receiver here, we got the transmitter here, and I'm just gonna cut the power on only on the receiver so I can do a scan of the 6 channels that is gonna go through to find the best one available for the area that I'm in. So in order to do that, you just press that middle button and hold it, and you'll see it start to scan around like it's doing here. And it's gonna do it probably a couple of rotations and find the best channel available for this area. So wherever that stops, which is on channel 1, so now I can turn on my transmitter power. So you see the 2 lights flash red, it's already on channel 1, so these 2 are synced and ready to go. So I'm just gonna put the receiver into channel 2 on the Everse 8 before I turn it on. And I'm gonna put the transmitter into my Shure SM58 microphone. Without fully going into a class about the Everse 8, just know that my volumes for the channels are generally set to 0 dB, and then I'll adjust depending on how I want to mix all 3 channels before they go into the main channel, which is on 0 dB at the moment. So on channel 2, I'm just going to turn on my microphone and talk into it until I'm audible inside of this speaker, right? 1 2 1 2, I don't hear anything, so I'm just going to continue to crank up the volume until I am audible out of this speaker so that we can conduct our test. All right, party people, so I left the camera behind the speaker so that you can get that and hear that, but also see me. Here I'm at 50 feet. The transmitter is on the mic and it's receiving on the back of the speaker, and I'm gonna heads up, everybody, you may hear a slight change in my audio because I decided to take off the Rode Wireless Go. So I just wanted you guys to really just listen to the speaker. So here we go. All right, so my microphone is turned on and I'm walking and I'm almost at the 50-foot mark. So here I am right here. And just note that the microphone is transmitting. I can hear myself very clear with no distortion or nothing weird is going on. and I am talking with the transmitter in front of me, and the only thing between the transmitter and the receiver at the moment is the actual speaker, right? So as I put my body in, now I've just created another layer and another barrier just to see what that's going to be like. I wanted to ensure that if I'm in this general area and I'm talking to the audience a little bit off of my stage, which is approximately 15 to 20 feet, I think this is about as far as I would personally go with a microphone transmitter of this caliber, but it is doing its job. But the main thing is we wanted to know, how does it do at the 100 feet of distance, right? So let's do this. I'm gonna put my body in between, and I'm just gonna walk and let you guys hear as I'm talking and approaching the 100-foot distance mark real soon. In a few more steps, I did hear a pop, a little bit of crackle there. So with my body in between the transmitter, the speakers, everything is going. So as I turn around, it's a lot clearer, but when I put my body in between this transmitter and the receiver behind the speaker, you guys can hear that it is crackling, popping, and having some dropouts. So I think in all retrospect, the manual does call for straight line of sight. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually turn the speaker. So here we go. All right, so for reference, I'm not gonna put my body in between the transmitter and the receiver. This is just to verify that, hey, I have a clear line of sight between the transmitter and the receiver. So here I am at 100 feet of distance, clear line of sight between the transmitter and the receiver, and there is absolutely no cracking, popping, dropouts, or none of that. So I am 100% confident that at a distance of 100 feet, with the direct line of sight between the transmitter and the receiver, there'd be absolutely great sounding microphone transmission with this unit. My findings so far is that with the direct line of sight between the transmitter and the receiver here at 100 feet, it is absolutely true. I had no problems whatsoever. I think that if I were going to use this in a live environment here, which I do rock sometimes, I would, one, be mindful of how far I go out into the audience, being mindful that there's not too many people between the transmitter and the receiver. And the other thing I would definitely do if I were going to get into something like that is put a cable into the speaker and the other end of the cable into the receiver here, but I would get the receiver up in the air. And that can be accomplished several ways. I could gaff tape it to the side or top of one of my speakers where it's just kind of up, or I could affix some kind of device or, some kind of rigging to, make that a little bit more permanent. Or I could hang it from up there some way, somehow. But either way, I would definitely want to make sure that at that far of a distance, especially with party people in between the devices potentially, to have a direct line of sight as much as you can help it. But other than that, the claims of a distance of 100 feet with direct line of sight between the transmitter and the receiver is golden in my book. So let's do now a test through the wall. So for this part of the test, I'm just gonna walk and I'm gonna keep my pace count, so I'm not gonna turn on the microphone until several distances, right, where I think I need to do that. So here we go. Here I am on the other side of the wall. I'm approximately 50 feet from the microphone and through a single center block wall. All right, so here I am, 100 feet. I don't hear any cracking, popping, or anything like that. So I do have a good audible sounding transmitter and receiver conversation going on between these devices. Everything is good. Again, I don't hear any crackling, popping. I just find it strange though that the microphone is not doing any of that, but I did find a problem when I turned around and put my body in between the transmitter and receiver. It just, glitches out a little bit. So that's to be expected, and especially through a center block wall. So we're gonna move the speaker now and we're gonna do that same test. I wasn't sure if you guys could see me at the range of 100 feet outside, if the camera even picked me up. However, I was able to talk on the microphone. So here I am at a distance of 50 feet. I am on the opposite side of two walls. So the transmitting through two center block walls with no glitching, nothing weird to me that I can hear anyway. But I'm gonna reevaluate this on camera later. And then I'm gonna walk now another 50 feet and then we're just gonna check it out through two center block walls. All right, here we go. We are transmitting through two center block walls. I'm at the distance of 100 feet. I have both walls in between the transmitter and the receiver. So I just wanted to make note of that. Now, I'm going to turn around just as before and put my body between the transmitter and the receiver because I'm very much... Yeah, so there's definitely interference when I put my body in between the transmitter and the receiver. It definitely cuts out, so I'm just going to turn slowly until it gets to that point. Glitchy, glitchy. Clicking. So I think that I understand the capabilities and the limitations of this microphone, so I'm happy with it. Their claim to the distance and the capabilities of it is absolutely true. Yep. All right, party people, so what are my honest thoughts? Well, like any system out there, you gotta understand the capabilities, you gotta follow the rules to be successful with these types of devices, right? I don't care if you got the most advanced Axiom microphone to the Xvive or Phoenix Pro or whatever you guys are using out there. Every system have its capabilities and limitations, right? So my understanding of the U35 here is this. Number one, make sure I have a good direct line of sight. And so one way for me to accomplish that in the future going forward, I think I'm going to fasten some kind of way that I can attach this to a microphone stand or even to the top of my speaker, but just get this thing up in the air to where there's minimum blockage between the transmitter and this receiver where I can talk at a distance. Number two, I gotta make sure I stay within that 100 feet or I risk going outside. And the other thing I learned here today by putting my body in between the receiver and the transmitter, well, I was having glitches, so I just have to be mindful of that when I'm talking. Maybe turn my mic out sideways if I'm walking away from the receiver, but turning around more to it if I'm, conscious of that, right? So like any system, you gotta follow the manufacturer's recommendations. And I think for me, in my testing, I learned what works, what doesn't work. But is this a fabulous system? Absolutely. Does it work really well? Guarantee you it works. It's proven that at a distance of 100 feet, transmitter line of sight to the receiver, it works absolutely great. I'm almost at the 50-foot mark, so here I am right here. I am 100% confident that at a distance of 100 feet with the direct line of sight between the transmitter and the receiver, I'm glad I found out what are the issues, what are the potential problems, and like any mic system out there, I've had to do the same thing. So Xvive is no different, but I thank Xvive and Julie for sending these to me. I'm going to put some links down in the description below so you guys can check that out and purchase it. If you don't mind, please smash that like button. If nothing else, give me a like based on how hot it is out here doing this testing today. And to help the G5 Nation grow, please subscribe to the channel. And of course, to keep up with new videos, all you got to do is rock that bell. Without a bite and quenches every